So here we are. It's 2023. We're in January. I know it's the 3rd, but it really does feel like the 1st in a lot of ways. And we're starting the year off, guys, the way we always do. We're looking forward, we're trying to make predictions and forecasts, and then go backwards and build some strategies and set some goals for not just the channel, but my club and hopefully yours as well. This will be my 3rd January on the platform, and the last 2 Januaries, if they're anything to go by, are always curtain raisers for what's to come for the year ahead. So I think this is always a great opportunity to take that little line in the sand and say, right, from this point forward, this is the plan, this is the strategy in line with these predictions that I expect to happen on the platform, on the pitch over the coming year. And 2023 for me is starting off with an absolute bang. I'm picking up 3 rewards today as well, a rare and 2 super rares. If you make it to the end of the video, we'll be opening some rewards back there as well once we get through all the juicy stuff we're expecting and planning for in 2023. At any point in the video today, if you laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do like and subscribe to the channel. It means a lot to me. The goal for the channel this year is to get to 10,000 subs as soon as humanly possible. So the sooner you hit that subscribe button, the sooner we get there. And obviously when we hit a milestone like that, there will be significant giveaways that come as a result. So hit the subscribe button, like, share and retweet and all that good stuff. And drop a comment down below and let me know what your predictions, strategy and goals are for 2023 for your club. Stay out of trouble and let's get stuck into it. Now, I'm in a fortunate enough position where I can use the last couple of years of my own performance as some sort of metric and data set for anything that I'm going to plan and try and forecast for this year. You guys at home might not have that luxury. So just to give you a very brief recap, in January 2021, I was only on the platform for about 6 months or so. I'd got the grasp of rares for you guys at home that might be limited, and I felt really eager, very bullish on the platform, and I was just itching to get into some high-powered super rares and get some stuff that I could see being huge collateral that would really springboard my club further on. In January 2022, I kind of became a bit disillusioned with the goals I had set, achieved and not achieved and whatever in terms of SO5, and I focused last year on really just hammering home consolidation and really getting in the cards that I want to keep in my club for as long as possible. Obviously last year Celtic were dropped about March-April time, which really did throw a spanner in my works, and I had to really rip up my plan for do this in March, do this in April, etc., and just had to go for all the Celtic cards when they were coming as I could get them. In 2022, I was much more focused on the content side of things. You know, I'd just basically relieved myself of the rat race I'd found myself in for the last 10, 12 years, being self-employed, being an entrepreneur, whatever. And I took on this studio. I've built this place up from nothing, and I'm really excited for what I can do content-wise in here on the channel for you guys, not just in terms of on the pitch, but I feel 2023, my goals and my strategy really does stem from the last 2 years that I've been running. So my number one prediction for Sorare always has and will continue to remain to be, I see this as becoming the number one football pastime, football hobby, football recreational activity where people spend, you know, money, time and brain space on for engaging with their team, engaging with their favourite players, and for watching all sorts of different football, because the football evolution that's kind of happened over the last 20 years, people are watching more and more games in more and more different countries, and people are getting more attached to players and individuals, as well as clubs and managers and that kind of thing as well. And my prediction for that has always been, I see it happening this year. We see some sort of real watershed moment where Sorare really pushes through, and I don't think we've had that moment in 2021. I don't think we got that moment quite in 2022, but I do feel that we're really building up towards perhaps a couple of those moments in 2023. So if I think that's the prediction for me, where I see Sorare becoming at the limited and the common level, the real hobbyist activity for most kind of football nerds, football enthusiasts out there, I equally see the super rare and the unique division becoming in the same kind of mold as what I just said for the commons and the limiteds, but in that kind of high stakes poker, that esports kind of top end FIFA player, if that makes sense, like that kind of bracket where you're interested in, you know, the teams that are getting picked and, you know, it's high stakes, high rewards, all that kind of stuff. And then the rares kind of occupy this kind of middle ground where if you are taking the game quite seriously and you want to maybe think about moving into the big leagues, as it were, the rares being the conduit for that. What could a couple of those kind of watershed moments be? We do all expect the Premier League to come, and the way the company's talking, you know, everyone's talking about how big January is going to be. So I think we'll get a lot of tells within this month of how big and what they're planning for this year exactly. But I do think the Premier League is going to be a huge watershed moment. It's not just for having the Premier League and it having, perhaps the ability with the common cards to maybe snatch some FPL players, and with the limiteds maybe some FIFA players or anything like that, but it's more that the game becomes complete. I've played hundreds of football games in my life, and from licensing laws being different with different companies and different gaming studios, all the way through to just games. I remember when they first came out on the PlayStation, like management games and whatever, you would maybe get like the Champions League teams outside of the English and Scottish teams, but that was it. And then as time rolled on, it became even more exciting as you could access more leagues, across the world in different regions. And then as well, as time moved on, you then get access to like doing their equivalent of the Champions League, and then you could do national teams and all this kind of evolution. So it's more from that side of things where the game feels complete once we get the Premier League put in place. Maybe with Ronaldo moving to Saudi Arabia, maybe we'll get some more red and blue X's removed over the year. But in terms of the actual infrastructure that the Sorare can put in for the game and that kind of licensing respect, as it were, there's not much more for them to do, which means a lot of the improvements that they've got to make on the game is going to be on the UX, is going to be on the customer experience, feeling that you're really enjoying your cards and getting bang for your buck. Now, the second kind of watershed moment that I think we're going to get throughout this year, and it's something that I'm going to be doing a lot on this channel, is the thresholds at all levels that we're going to see at limited, at rare, and super rare. Like, if you are just a massive football enthusiast, or you really love your team or whatever, this is fantasy football gone global. So you can play like your favorite team, no matter who they are, and they've got a credible chance of getting in amongst the rewards and flying really high on the leaderboard. Couple that with the fact that you can play a capped mode, they can give you like some sort of like passive kind of side hustle income, as it were, from backing your players, knowing your team, etc. Over the course of a season, I see many a football fan around the world, even from the limited thresholds, they're able to save up the money to be able to buy like football shirts and football tickets and that kind of thing. And you know what? The limited cards that you earned that £5 a game week with or whatever, you've bought them. You don't need to buy them again, so the longer you run them, the better. And the way that Sorare really reintroduced the thresholds in December, the wording of it was very deliberate, in my opinion. It was very calculated in terms of how they're delivering everything. And it really sounds like the threshold is here for forevermore. So people like myself have always been quite tentative around holding the threshold out there as some sort of carrot for this is a great aspect of the game, because you're always worried it gets taken away. And then people who have maybe joined the game to play it for that aspect, then maybe feeling like they've had a rug pull situation. So I've got utmost confidence that many more players will be drawn to come into the game because of the thresholds, not just them being accessible at all sorts of price points now, but the fact that it does really feel that it's here for forevermore. Yes, it's likely to change at the end of this current season before we go into the 23-24 season, but as it being a beat the game dynamic, I see it being here forevermore in essence. And I think the third big watershed moment that we could be on for this year is Sorare NBA itself. Now, I feel that the NBA and MLB have really adopted Sorare as their native fantasy game very quickly and very seamlessly, and it is just a case of getting a market identity for Sorare in those areas, and just time, people to, oh yeah, I've heard about that thing, oh yeah, my pal's bought a couple of cards, oh yeah, I've got £100 for my birthday, I'm going to go buy a LeBron James Limited or something, I don't know. But I think going into the next NBA season, very similar to what we'll probably see, you could probably asterisk this and add in MLB. It will give the Sorare community already onboarded a real run-up at the season. They'll have a great run-up in terms of marketing push and just game exposure. And I think on the NBA side of things, the innovation and the flexibility and the fluidity that we've seen in the gaming arena around the rules and the auctions, how well controlled everything they are, is it feels like NBA has learned every lesson from football and adopted it from day one, with NBA only been in year one at this point. And by the time we get to the next season of NBA cards, I know we'll have had a full NBA season, but in terms of Sorare NBA, it's kind of year zero rather than year one. It's very much beta for them, but they've got the benefit of all the football Sorare stuff that's happened, as well as all the stuff that's happened in the Top Shot community, as well as in the DFS community and DraftKings and FanDuel and all that stuff over the last 10, 15 years, whatever. So I feel if we get a big push from the NBA as well, in the sense that that gets like mass adoption over in America in terms of fantasy sports kind of style, then I think that could be absolutely huge. Because I've already felt that the NBA launch was a real feathering the cap of Sorare for, how much weight and credibility the NBA carries in the world. Then, I think that's going to be probably number 3, along with the Premier League completing the game and thresholds, giving normal fans on normal budgets a kind of side hustle income that can help them then further support their team, as well as buying the cards, which, go back to your team anyway as revenue. So in line with that, like I said in the intro, my goal for the channel is I want the channel to grow as much as I possibly can, and I think for where we're at, 10,000 is a great milestone to kind of aim for over the next couple of months, maybe over the year. We'll see how far it goes, But I'm hoping for big things on the channel with your support. To help me achieve that, of course, I think the Road to Glory series, which will be on the channel tomorrow, is going to be a huge hit, and the kind of parallel that we're running with that in the member section, where it's just less people, and we're going for champion Euro cards, I think, at the moment, and the giveaway stuff and that scouting kind of grassroots stuff that I really enjoy so much, unearthing those players that are like £2 that could go and do something for you, is something that I'm going to really enjoy, and it's built upon the input from the comment section, which makes me think it's going to be an absolute wild hit, because you guys, the scouts and managers on Sorare from all around the world that tune into this channel, is the best community on Sorare, in my opinion, so hearing your tips and insights as well, kind of filtering through all the stuff and then putting through the best ones, I think it's just going to be amazing content that I hope we can all enjoy throughout the year. Every reward that gets won by my limited cards throughout this year in the Road to Glory series, whether it be on the main channel on Wednesday or whether it be in the member section as well, all of those rewards get given away to you guys, the contributors of the content. And I would really love in the Road to Glory series if we could get a couple of star limiteds into the club as well to give away to you guys, because it's all about big rewards, and even in giveaways I want to give away the biggest and best stuff I possibly can. And I think with the intel, I've already done the draft for the video, we're going to have some really good teams popping out in the Road to Glory series. And in terms of from an SO5 perspective, I feel that my club is very well balanced at the moment, with core pieces that I can really compete with across the main divisions that I really prioritise. But I'm now getting back to that stage of wanting to expand. So in terms of an SO5 perspective, I'm looking to add across all regions 4 total playing goalkeepers into the roster I've currently got. The reason I say playing goalkeepers is they kind of activate for me. They're like gatekeepers to opening a team, to opening a division. And because of the amount of change I'm expecting on Sorare throughout this year, increased utility is one thing that we're going to see on NBA. For rares and above, it's long overdue. But I think in football, at limited, it's long overdue. And if we get something at limited in football, very often we get it right up the scarcity pyramid. So I think if we get an opportunity for increased utility, I want to be able to spring into action. I want to be able to capitalise upon that with the solid bedrock foundation cards I've got. Maybe some of the question mark cards can come into play, and I can pay even more attention to play sharper on Sorare data and that kind of stuff, and then work out my question mark players. And I've got goalkeepers that can activate them and turn them on. And because these are tertiary or secondary lineups, I'm not as bothered for them. So the playing goalkeepers have to be well scouted, have to be well priced, and I'm always looking to get the backup guy that comes good somehow, or the guy that's out of favour because he's, out of season, out of region, that kind of thing. Because in 2023, I want to continue this winning momentum that I've built at FC Barcelona for the rares and the super rares over the back end of 2022, and really throughout my time on the platform, because as everything starts to grow, I love playing this game and I want to keep winning. That's my competitive nature from within me, and that's why I love making content about it, because hopefully you guys enjoy seeing me, do rubbish and then do a wee bit better and then do good and then sell some stuff and then buy some stuff and then do better again and all the rest of it. And the strategy that I'm going to deploy across NBA to activate any of this upside that I see coming throughout the year is I'm in pure card accumulation mode. Like, I've been on Sorare long enough to know that once NBA gets to year 3, year 4, regardless of growth and stature and that kind of thing, year 1 cards will have a gloss on them. They will have a bit of shine. And I 100% just play Sorare NBA by the numbers according to the forecasts on the Pro Edition of Sorare data. Even if you're not a basketball fan, I recommend you at least have a peek at it. Maybe you can get a couple of guys for a $5 that have got good L10s, and you can maybe play around with some commons like I do as well, and just play the numbers game and try and yield some year 1 cards, because that's all I'm kind of looking at it as. Is I've put an initial kind of outlay. I wanted to get involved in NBA for the year 1 opportunity. I'm in now. I've kind of overspent on some of the early mints. I do have some one-offs, and maybe they'll come back to help me out in the future. But throughout this year, I just want to accumulate every single card I possibly can on NBA, because the longer it goes, because of the amazing start it has, I really see it going ahead of football in terms of timeline. Where NBA is in year 1, football, in my opinion, probably wasn't until year 2 or 3. And it's with that prediction in mind is why I'm deploying that strategy. I'm not really trading. I don't think I haven't sold anything. I've not sold anything. I've bought a few things, of course, but I'm just looking to accumulate. On football, I'm kind of back to the same spot where, yes, I like to yield. I do like to have in-game revenue, as it were, where I can sell rewards and buy cards that I specifically handpick, etc. But reviewing the rewards I've won over the last 2 years, like some of the tier 2s and tier 3s, man, like they can go balubas. So I want to have myself in a position where I can just sit on a few more rewards, and I'm not like, I could really do with selling him so I can go buy another Celtic player or something. So I'm almost in that kind of saturation point of the desirable cards that I really want to have in my club, and I'm now going back into utility-based cards. So hopefully that means I can maybe hang on to some of my rewards and maybe just cross my fingers for random upside on tier 2 and tier 3 cards that I'm collecting. If you haven't checked the masterclass on how to build your Sorare team, that'll be linked in the description below. But it really ties back into that makeup of a team that I really always lay out the foundations across any competition that I'm going to try and play. So if you haven't checked that out yet, I highly recommend it. No matter how long you've been playing Sorare for, it has helped people that I've been playing the game for years, as well as days, weeks, or months. And like I said before, I'm expecting increased utility through the year. So I want to be able to spring into position when, more competitions do open up. I want to be able to play in as many competitions as I used to. The back end of 2021 up to kind of early 2022. I used to be able to roll out 20 odd teams or something like that at rare level and above. And I want to get back to those kind of numbers. Excellent, guys. So let me know your comments down below on any of that. And now we've got some rewards to open. Here we go, guys. It is trophy day. Game week 333 has started off the year 2023 with 3 rewards for me. I'm picking up 2 super rares, a rare, and I'm also going to get a little bit of Ethereum for my troubles as well. Celtic could only manage a 2 each draw against Rangers, but I still just about had some of the right scores in some of the right places, and as a result, we're picking up a hat-trick of rewards to start the year off with an absolute bang. So an all-star super rare, legend of FC Barcelona, David Sorare, I came in with a clean sheet, and across the rest of the team, Greg Taylor, despite him coming off injured, he just about got as many points as I needed him to for a defender that conceded 2 goals. He wasn't on the pitch for those, so that was quite good. McGregor and Hatate did okay, and then Captain Kyogo with the goal at the very end of the game got us into the rewards at the death. In Challenger Super Rare, we were 5th. Now, I was actually kind of unlucky not to do a bit better. I don't know why I didn't start Tony. Tony Watts scored for Dundee United, and he's come off at the very end for my Mulgrew, who just about got enough points to get us up there. We were pushing for 4th and 3rd, but again, at the very end of the game, as Mulgrew came on, David Marshall conceded his 3rd goal and took a negative decisive. So the points I gained from Mulgrew, Marshall just threw them away with that 3rd goal, so they kind of negated each other, and we finished 5th in the end. And in All-Star Rare Pro, we finished 44th in the top 50. Heroes of FC Barcelona and my club, Brais Mendes and Enes Unal, doing huge performances in the La Liga return. Enes Unal with a goal, or was it an assist, sorry, a goal assist he got against Mallorca at home, and Brais Mendes, double decisive. He got a goal and an assist, and for me, he is one of the most in-form creative attacking midfielders in Europe. Andy Robertson came off injured against Leeds. He didn't score particularly well, and Joe Hart conceded 2 goals, of course, as we know. But we still finished in the top 50, and we're going to get a tier 2 reward for that as a result. In Kickoff Limited, the Road to Glory team. So if this team had won a card, we'd be giving it away this week. I'm going to have to go and buy a reward to give us away now. And Tony's goal came in absolute clutch. It threw us right into the tier 3s, where we're pushing for tier 2s as Paul Lopez kicked off for Marseille at the end. And again, very similar to Marshall. He was doing great. He was riding a clean sheet. And then he gives away a penalty, so he loses the positive decisive action for the clean sheet. So his decisive score goes from 60 to 35, and then he conceded the penalty. His error conceded the penalty, so he then gets a negative decisive. So his decisive score rolled all the way back from 60 to 15 in typical Paul Lopez Marseille defence fashion, and absolutely killed this team right at the last. Captain Hatate did admirable. Dembele was on the bench. Van Dijk did crap. And we were very unlucky not to pull something thanks to Tony's heroics. But hey-ho. So here we go. We'll open our Ethereum first of all, and then we'll kind of go on this order. So we'll open the rare, then the 2 super rares. Here's a little bit of Ethereum. So this is our tier 2 rare from Global All-Star. Thanks to the team that had Joe Hart, Brais Mendes, Enes Unal, Kyogo Furuhashi. Those guys kicking ass and taking names this game week. It's a Japanese player who plays in midfield for Sporting Lisbon, Hidemasa Morita. That is a great card. He's not got that many Sporting Lisbon issues. It's a challenger midfielder as well. that is going to be very, very useful for me. Oh, so happy with that. Hidemasa Morita for a tier 2 rare. He's trading at the now at 0.184 or so. His SO5 scores are okay. They're not that great, are they? But playing in centre mid for a Sporting Lisbon team that's been selling, I only expect him to get more minutes and hopefully increase his scores, because at Sporting Lisbon, that's a very good team to be sitting at. And those scores that he's pulling in, they're decent. They can work in cap mode or something. Japan International as well. He's currently got a bit of a muscle injury, so we'll check in on that. But yeah, very nice prospect, and it goes very well, I must say, with some of my Japanese cards I've got at Celtic. He's in the green and white hoops as well, so it feels like a very appropriate card. Now, this is our tier 3 from All-Star, and we've got a tier 3 from Challenger for 5th. So I'm going to open the All-Star one next, because in 23rd, I'm expecting this to be a lower caliber tier 3. It's probably not going to be anyone decent, but it is a super rare, and you never know. That Morita was a very good tier 2 we just won. So this guy's a Brazilian midfielder, tier 3 super rare that plays for Corinthians, Juliano. This guy plays, by the way. I think he might be in the tier 3s because he's been injured or something for a while. This could be really exciting, guys. 32-year-old attacking centre midfielder for Corinthians. No, he is kind of naff, isn't he? I got a wee bit excited there. His minutes haven't been there. Let's see overall, because I think this guy historically did used to be a player when Corinthians first came on. Yeah, he's got potential, man. He's got real potential there when the Brazilian football's on, and if he's back in playing. I know Paulinho was out injured a lot for Corinthians last year, the former Barca and Tottenham midfielder, and Corinthians do have a good roster. I know Williams went back to the Prem, but they've still got guys like Fagner. I think Joe, who used to play for Man City, is still there, and they're one of the better teams. So here, the minutes are all over the place, and I think that's what really kills this chart, this score. But when he does play and he does get in a run, look at this. That's what I'm after. And for a super rare mid, that could be tasty, by the way. What a tier 3 pool that is from All-Star. I'm actually quite chuffed with that. And I didn't need an American-based midfielder, I must say. So it's a wee bit of a fired a blank, as it were, on that one. But still a good card to win. I'm very chuffed with that. Now, our tier 3 rare from Challenger Europe, we want this guy to be wearing green and white hoops. Tier 3. We finished 5th. It has to be something okay. He's Portuguese. Plays in midfield. I'm getting lots of midfielders, and he plays for, forget that team, Ankagaru, Pedrinho. Now I think I've won 4 super rare mids over the last 3 weeks now. So I've got Pedrinho at Ankagaru. Let's have a look at him. Let's see what he's all about. Pedrinho at Ankagaru. There we go. So 29 Portuguese. Rare doesn't go for too much. His scores don't jump out at me. It's been incredible. Wow. They can be. What was happening back in this game weeks? Oh, this is when he was in Portugal and he was playing for a rubbish team. Wow, would love that to happen again. Wow, huge potential on this guy. This guy is, right, I want to see if this is a loan or something. No, it's a transfer. Okay, so he's in at this team. He does have some AA about him. He's not been doing that as well as he did in Portugal, of course, but he does have some AA in him, and I think he's better in attacking mid than defensive mid from what I can see here. So hopefully he gets in a few more kind of attacking mid roles, and the coverage that the Turkish league has, that's a great midfielder card for me to win as a tier 3, I would suggest, So for tier 3s and a tier 2, man, I'm pretty chuffed with all that. The Morita goes for just under 0.2. I reckon the Giuliano, I could probably get the thick end of that for him. And this guy, yeah, maybe I could get, what does his rare go for? Yeah, I could probably get about half a coin for a bunch of these, plus this little bit of ease. So I'm actually pretty happy with my returns here. Now, for the upcoming game week, I've got no teams out at all. I've put now for the upcoming game week, I've got no teams at all. I've got maybe 3 guys playing in this team. I expect Mari and Hendry to play, but I don't know about Ivan Illich. I don't know if he's going to make it. The other 2 guys are DNP, don't have a fixture. And then kickoff, we're managing to get a 4-man team out, one of them being unlimited. So maybe this kickoff team might win us something that we could get to give away for you guys for next week. So we'll stay tuned to that. Let's hope Kostic. We've got 2 guys from Torino, my OG common Vlasic and my OG common Vojvoda. They're playing for Torino at home to Hellas Verona, so maybe that's a good game for them. And I've also got Giroud away to Salernitana. Now, I don't know if Giroud's in the squad or not. Even if he's coming off the bench, he might be useful for us. It's a bit of a dry game week, so we'll soon see on that. Welcome to 2023, guys. I hope you enjoyed that one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and retweet and all that good stuff. Stay out of trouble, and I'll catch you on the next one. And everyone throughout the year 2023. Take care. Bye-bye.